Very spontaneously on August 1st, I decided to embark on a challenge where I was trying to do 30 puzzles in 30 days. There are several reasons why I wanted to do this. The first one is that I wanted to reduce the amount of puzzles coming into my collection. The second is that I wanted to get a better grasp on my ongoing to-do list, which is getting close to the 150 puzzle mark. And the third is that I wanted to just incorporate better puzzling habits. I am someone who is a one and done type of person. If I sit down to puzzle, I'm finishing that puzzle. So oftentimes I puzzle way late in the evening, and I want to get better in the habit of puzzling a little bit each day and to be better about stepping away from puzzles when I need to. So in this video, I'm going to be going over my experience, how I did it following my own rules, and I wanted to give you some takeaways that I got from this challenge. Honestly, I wasn't expecting this to be a life-changing event, but I did learn several things that I am going to be incorporating into my everyday, and it ended up being a very beneficial challenge for me to do. If you want to see all the puzzles that I did this past month, make sure to check out my latest upload where I go over every single puzzle with little mini reviews. I'll make sure to link that down below and up in the cards. And if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Emily. I'm the host here at The Casual Puzzler. I upload about 2 to 3 times a week, so if you're a lover of puzzle or a puzzle enthusiast and you like this content, feel free to subscribe. It is free for you. It means the world to me, and I'd really love it if you joined our little family here. And starting off on this challenge, I would say incredibly optimistic would be a great way to summarize my thoughts at the time. I will say I went into this with no preparation. I did not look at my current filming schedule or my house schedule or other things that were happening. I didn't even look at the puzzles that I had available for me. I was just like, I'm doing this, and jumped right into this challenge with no thought whatsoever. You looked at my story or reel, I think it was a story that I did on Instagram. I went over the puzzles I was expecting to do that first week. There were several 1,000 pieces. I was expecting to do my 1,000 piece puzzles on the weekends, tried to do 300 pieces mostly on the week, but neither of those plans really worked out. And so I could have done things a little bit differently, but I would say overall it was a good experience. Going into a quick recap, weeks 1 and 2 were pretty similar, and I'll make sure to link the video I did up in the cards because I go very in depth of what I did. It was almost like a play-by-play of each day that you could see the puzzles I did, my thoughts and such. So I'm not really going to go into weeks 1 and 2 very much here. However, I will say that weeks 1 and 2, I realized all of my awful puzzling habits. I puzzle in the evening. That's when I normally remember to puzzle. And so I often was starting puzzles at 9 p.m. or later. One night I started a puzzle at 11 p.m. And the thing about starting this late in the evening is at that time I'm usually doing something else. I'm usually picking up the house, I'm editing a video, I'm doing things that are really productive. And changing that to puzzling meant that those things weren't getting done. So weeks 1 and 2, I feel like I was getting more and more stressed because I was getting behind in other things. The house was messy, the videos were, I feel like, getting out way later, or I just would have to edit them right beforehand, so I wasn't doing as good of a job. So for me, it was really stressful puzzling in the evening. Not to mention, I was puzzling so late. Like, I was going to bed at about 1 or 2 in the morning. And so I was exhausted, waking up late, like my whole day was thrown off. And I knew something needed to change. And on week 3 is when I finally made the connection. 2 things also happened the first 2 weeks is, one, I ran out of 300 pieces pretty quickly. I didn't realize I didn't have many in my collection to do, so I ended up having to resort to 500 pieces, so it made the challenge a little bit more difficult. I also realized my weekends were full. The first weekend I actually had scheduled in the books that I was going to do my 100 piece video, and so I did 12 100 piece puzzles, but none of those counted towards the piece count for this challenge. And then the second weekend I ended up having to do some household stuff and some canning that I already had planned, so my weekends were really filling up and I wasn't able to do as many 1,000 piece puzzles as I was expecting. Like, in my head at the beginning, I was going to do like 20 1,000 piece puzzles. I was so excited. I had like a stack of them that I was excited to do. That did not happen. I was happy to do my smaller piece counts for this challenge because I just knew time was just an issue for me. And once I got to week 3, I was behind in my puzzling. I was really kind of down because I was like, I need to catch up. I'm behind. There's so many to do. I think I was like behind by 4 by the end of week 3. But I also feel like in week 3, I made a huge shift in my mindset and what I needed to do. So it really happened in one of my videos where I was doing an experiment where I was like, I'm going to try puzzling in the morning and see how it goes. From that point forward is where I really made a shift, and it really helped my mindset. I found it joyful. I wasn't stressed as much, and a lot of other things came out of it, which I'll explain a little bit later in the video. But shifting the time of day that I was puzzling made a huge difference for me. Once I got into week 4, I started to get a routine down, and I really don't think I'm going to be changing it much moving forward. Now, going into my 3 rules, how did I do? The first one was like my non-negotiable, which was to puzzle at least 1 hour per day. I did that to a T. Even if it was late at night, starting at 11 p.m., I would make sure that I did at least 1 hour puzzling a day. Oftentimes it was more than that because my 300 pieces, as I've mentioned, was dwindling down pretty quickly. So I had to switch to my 500 pieces, which to me usually take about 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, depending on the difficulty level. Moving into rule number 2, I struggled with this one, which is to not purchase puzzles. I really didn't think it was going to be that difficult. I'm like, I can avoid it, it's fine. Weeks 1 and 2, when I noticed that my 300 piece count was really dwindling, I was nervous because I didn't have many smaller piece counts to go by. I couldn't find the 500 pieces, so I ended up doing like a huge declutter of my collection and moved all the 500 pieces that I had on my to-do list over in one section. That was a huge game changer for me for a couple of reasons. I knew all the puzzles that I had on my to-do list, and I had plenty of 500 pieces to last me for the challenge, which helped reduce the urge to purchase more puzzles. It also made it really easy to figure out which puzzle I was doing next because there was only a small selection to choose from. Now, I will say I did not succeed in this challenge. I mean, technically, no new puzzles have entered my house yet, but I did pre-order something and I'm so excited for it, and it was something that I wasn't going to purchase this month. I was doing really good. I had gotten the email when Dave was with me and he was like, oh, you've been talking about that brand and you really wanted to order them. Why don't you do it? And I was like, cause I'm on a no-buy. And he kind of convinced me to purchase them. So I did do a pre-order, and I do have some things coming from brands, but I did not get anything in the house. Does that count? I do think though the no-buy did help me because it made me realize that I would love to save my budget for larger purchases like this. For me, I'm someone who typically goes thrifting, maybe spends like probably like $40 to $50 each month on thrifted puzzles or puzzles that are just like on sale. But I think I would love to have it in the mindset where I'm saving my budget for something special. And I think that's what I'm going to be doing going forward, because I have plenty of puzzles right now on my to-do list that I can do and then save my monthly budget for something absolutely amazing that I want to review. So I think that is my mindset going forward, because I'm so excited for what's coming, and I don't think I would have purchased it if I had just like used my puzzle budget for something smaller earlier in the month. Moving on to rule number 3, which is to do a minimum of 300 pieces for 30 puzzles, and I will say I did it. So if you saw my first video, you guys know that I completed the 30 puzzles, which is incredible. I'll do some stats here that I thought you might be interested in to know like which puzzle piece counts and all that such. So for the Bump Podcast, I'm happy to state that I did 10 300 pieces, 17 500 plus pieces, so some are like 530, there was one that was 630, so something like that. And then I had 3 1,000 pieces, well, 2 1,000 pieces, one was a 1,200 piece, and I also did 13 100 piece puzzles, well, one was like 150 I think, and I did a 3D puzzle. So I did a ton of puzzling this month. In total, I did 44 puzzles, 30 of which were for the challenge, 14 were for something else. So in total, I did 16,559 pieces, which is double my normal amount per month. For my to-do list right now, without the extra things that are coming on in my house, it is 98 puzzles, and I have officially hit 100 puzzles for the year. So my goal is to do a minimum of 100 puzzles this year. I'm at 118, which is crazy. And I do have to do 1,900 pieces each week from now until the end of the year to reach my 100,000 piece goal, which is a very doable number for me. So overall, I think it was a very successful challenge and I'm very happy with those stats. I do wish I did a few more 1,000 pieces, but with everything else that was on my schedule, I'm happy where I was at. And I will say, those who are also doing this challenge, there was a few of you that I was following, you guys did so well. Like, one person was doing so many 1,000 pieces. I was a little bit jealous, but I'm happy with where I'm at and I was able to finish the challenge, which is incredible. And then finally, let's go over 3 takeaways from this challenge. This is all based off my personal preferences and experience and puzzling habits, but these are things that I have learned from this challenge. The first one is that I've gotten way better at stepping away from a puzzle. Now, I'm not crazy. I'm still that type of person where I'm like, one more piece, and then like 20 pieces later, I'm still there. But I have gotten a lot better at just stepping back. You know, if I set my timer for an hour, then I'm going away and I'm able to leave the puzzle alone. I've gotten better at protecting my puzzle from the cats, which is very helpful because right now Oliver is in the stealing pieces phase. So I've gotten better at like keeping things protected so I don't feel scared leaving a puzzle unattended. So that is awesome. The second thing that I took away is I feel like I'm less of a puzzle snob. Like, I used to be someone who was very particular about the quality, which brands I wanted to do, images that I wanted to do. And I feel like with this challenge was doing so many smaller piece counts, I'm okay with anything. Like if I wanted to do a photograph puzzle, sure, a 500 or less piece count is something that I would definitely be into. Brands that I have kind of neglected, I would definitely be into. So I think for smaller piece counts, I'm game for anything. If it was a larger piece count, it's a question. But I feel like with those smaller piece counts, like I can handle maybe a looser fit or shiny pieces or something like that. You know, I can deal with it if the image and the experience is fantastic. Moving into that, I do have several brands that I've rediscovered. So the first one that I will definitely notice is Bits and Pieces. Oh my goodness. I really fell for this brand during this challenge. I did 2 from them. They're 500 pieces. They had like those triangle shaped pieces, which I really enjoyed. And I feel like for me, Bits and Pieces is such an old school brand that I just don't pay attention to them. I went to their Instagram and they were doing so many cool things over there. So it's definitely a brand I'm into and looking at and potentially buying more from in the future. The second one is definitely Ebu. It's a brand that I still don't feel comfortable purchasing full price, but if I found it on sale or thrifted, I would 100% be into it. I love the colors. Each time I've done one, it's been a fun experience. Yes, they're on a crumbly side. Yes, they have a paper backing and they're too shiny, but the images are so fun. So I will definitely be using them some more. Also feel like Seiko and Crazy Art haven't had much exposure to me in my collection. So that's a brand I'm also curious about in a smaller piece count. Like, I don't think I would go up to 1,000 piece for them, but I definitely can see me doing more smaller piece counts for them. And then finally, the biggest thing that I took away from this challenge is some puzzling habits. I have now broken my habit of puzzling late into the evening. For now, we'll see how this goes. During week 3, I made a huge shift where instead of me starting my puzzles in the evening, I switched to trying to add it into my morning routine because my goal was to puzzle a minimum of an hour a day. So if I did that 1 hour minimum, I was okay. Like, I could do the rest of the day not having to worry about it. And even in the evening, if I had other things to do, like, I didn't have to add puzzling onto that to-do list. So puzzling in the morning was something I really wanted to incorporate, and I ended up doing way better things than I was expecting because adding puzzling to my morning routine kind of was the anchor point for so many behaviors afterwards that I was overall more productive throughout the day. So I would wake up, do some morning stuff, come down to puzzle. I set a timer for an hour, got up from the puzzle after my hour, and then made breakfast, which then in turn led to me doing dishes while I'm making breakfast, which then in turn to me eating breakfast while making my to-do list for the day, and then editing because I'm already at my computer, and then like doing other things that just kind of made sense in order based off of me having, I guess, breakfast in the morning, but I never really had breakfast because of time and medication. So for me, having that extra hour in the morning to puzzle made the world of difference. like I was more productive. I actually was doing so much in the daytime that come the evening when I would typically do the editing and the cleaning and all that such, that stuff was done. So I actually had time in the evening to puzzle with no guilt, and it was incredible. Also, since I had the evening free, I started earlier. Like I feel like I started my puzzles around 8 o'clock when Dave went to bed, which then meant that I was finished by 9:30, 10, and I was going to bed at a reasonable time to wake up early to start it all over again. So it's not like I was having my workday start later because I do work for myself. I was just like I was waking up earlier because I was going to bed earlier, and that just, it was a game changer, and everything like fell into place. I feel like I'm so much more productive. I feel like my channel is just getting its stride right now because I have more time to edit, and it's been awesome. So I do think this challenge was very beneficial to me. I've learned so much, and I feel like I am definitely in the groove. I don't see me stopping puzzling anytime soon. Of course, I have a channel and I'm puzzling, but I feel like I'm puzzling much more frequently now, and I have this new joy for puzzling. So anyways, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. And if you are new here, please subscribe. It just means the world to me if you joined our little family here. Also, make sure to check out our Facebook group and my Instagram if you want to have more content. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.